Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you the steps that are needed to send out invoices via email using the AUDREY add-on module from within the Medfin application. Okay, so the first step is to configure the AUDREY module. Namely, you will need to add the customer to AUDREY address book. Okay, so to do that, once AUDREY is activated under address book, and you can just either double click on any of the entries here that you already have. Okay, in this video, I'm going to be using this company here, Accurate Metal Fab, as an example. And once you're in the address book, you can add a new entry simply by clicking on this plus sign here. And once you have this blank entry, you can select from the Medfin master customer list, and here it is. Okay, you can just select from the list, and then basically once you have that entry, you can then fill in the information, particularly the email address information here. This is the email address AUDREY will use to send out invoices. So you want to confirm and validate the invoice with your customer. Particularly, you need to get their permission to accept email from AUDREY. So in addition to getting your customer permission to receive emails from AUDREY module, we do have a separate area in AUDREY where you can send out test email. We highly encourage you to send a test email to your customer prior to actually, sending invoices to a designated email account on their end. But let's recap. The first step is to add the customer email address to the address book. Okay, that's a requirement. Without the entry in the address book, AUDREY will not be able to process invoices for you. Okay, so that's the first step. The next step is to, under task, is to make sure that you have an invoice email task. And typically we include a sample task here called invoice documents. Okay, let's go ahead and review this. We do have a separate video to show you how you create one in case you don't have an existing invoice email document task in AUDREY. So this is a typical task configuration setting screen in AUDREY. Here you can see that there's a task ID, which is automatically generated by AUDREY, and you have the task description, task name, scheduled date and time. So this is your starting date and then the time. So if you are sending invoices out on a daily basis, you can, or in this case every hour, you can specify the hour like at 4 o'clock, or you can do daily. So in this case we're going to do once a day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 p.m. This is military format. And then the task path, this is typically located on your network drive under the apps Medfin application. You can click on this button here to explore, to navigate to that folder. So that would typically be under S apps Medfin EXEs, and then under invoice, under reports, and under invoice print report. So this is where the task path and the INI path would be typically located. However, there are some occasions where if the system has been configured to optimize the network traffic, the location may be located on the local C drive. So you may have to explore the C drive to locate this particular name, invoice print report. So if you need help with that, you can just email us and we can provide additional instructions. And the data path is typically default to the same as the Medfin application data path. Parameters, you just want to leave that blank. And username, you want to substitute with the administrative or the person who's doing the AUDREY task username and password here. Group by, you want to, because these are invoices that AUDREY is configured to send out, you want to select group by customer. For other types of documents relating to vendors, you might want to change that to vendor. But for this specific case, because we are sending out invoices, we want to leave the group by selected as customer number. And the remaining setting is just this disable selection. You definitely want to uncheck that, because if it is disabled, the task will not be performed by AUDREY. Okay, so once all your settings have been entered properly, click on Save. Okay, so that's about it for AUDREY configuration. Now, we're going to switch to Medfin and go through the process of selecting, creating job orders, ship out the work orders, invoice it, and see how what steps you need to do to get it to AUDREY so that AUDREY could process, generate the invoice, and email it out. Okay, so under Medfin, for this example, we're going to be using accurate metal fabrication. Okay, and we're going to be using quote number PN166. So let's go ahead and create a work order for part number PN166. Okay. 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 P item 1. Save. And we can go ahead and create a shipping order for this. So this is job number 1492. I'm going to go into shipping, create shipping order, and select one. We can look it up too. Okay, 1497 right here. And we're going to ship it out completely. 1,234 pieces. Save. Now we're going to go into shipping order, invoicing, and create the invoices from that shipping order right here. Okay, so this is the invoice total right here. Okay, we're going to just go ahead and click on print. Now, before I click on print, another a one-time setting that you need to make sure you have in place is under Open System Files, Default Print Setup File, and make sure that the Invoice Print module has the email option selected or checked. Okay, so this option has to be checked in order for the system to automatically identify customers or invoices associated with customers that have proper email address assigned in AUDREY. Okay, so make sure that setting is checked. Now once that is done, then we can go ahead and just click on print normally, so you can get a hard copy of the invoice, or in this case we can go ahead and print. Now you can see that it has this option checked by default, which is email document. Okay, so you can either print or you can click on email batch. Okay, would you like to clear the email batch? Yes. Okay, so now at this point the invoice has been generated, printed, and been added to the email batch. So typically you want to repeat this invoicing process for all the remaining invoices and for all the customers. And at the scheduled time, AUDREY would then group all the emails or invoices to be emailed and send them out at once. Okay, so you can configure it for multiple invoices for per customer, or you can group them together we can set it so that they'll be grouped together as a single email. So let's go ahead and switch over to AUDREY and take a look at the scheduled task. Okay, so in this case it's configured for 4 o'clock. However, I'm going to go ahead and manually launch it so we can illustrate the sending and the status of the test invoice that we just generated. Okay, so, and typically, like I said, it will be scheduled to run at that, so you don't have to do anything other than just let AUDREY run at that scheduled time. So I'm going to go ahead and manually launch the task. Okay, and once you launch it, you can go into the status. Okay, the status view here. So you can see here, it ran, the status, it started, and it's invoicing task, okay, right here, and it shows that it sent out invoice number 131344. Let me go back, and that's the invoice that we added to the batch, printed earlier, 1344. Okay, so this is the status, and this is useful in terms of being able to check on the status of AUDREY, and sometimes if you have any issues as far as not being able to process or send out, status would be the place to check. And we do have another video to show you how you can run a complete report to view the status log of AUDREY for all the transactions processed by AUDREY to help identify, because occasionally you may have internet access problem or email server not available, whatever the reason may be. We do have videos to show you how you can run the report and troubleshoot issues further. But in this particular example, we can see that it's been sent out and in fact it's been cleared. Now, what does it look like in terms of on the customer's end? Okay, so the next step is I'm going to show you the email, what the customer would receive, similar to the one that the customer would receive as a PDF attachment. So let me go ahead and open the email. Okay, and here it is. So this is what the customer would receive in terms of the email from AUDREY. Okay, your email account here, their email account, and the subject would be the invoice number, and you can change the message and the content of the email itself. But here's the attachment for this invoice. Okay, let me bring it over right here. So as you can see, it's just a PDF file. It has the same layout as what you typically print on a hard copy and mail it out by mail, but this is a PDF. During the initial period of using AUDREY, or in a normal policy, we recommend that you also CC a copy of every invoice you send out to your customer to the administrator account, AUDREY administrator account, so that you can use that as a way to confirm the status of AUDREY. So for whatever reason, if you check the email, the administrator email for AUDREY, and you don't get a copy of the invoice as expected at a certain time, maybe once a day, and if you did not receive the email, then you know that AUDREY hasn't been working, or it's not active or not running. So at that point, you want to follow up and check to see what's the status of AUDREY. So this concludes the video on how to email invoices using AUDREY from within the Medfin application. If you have additional questions regarding AUDREY or Medfin, please feel free to email us at support@compexsoftware.com. Thank you for watching this video.